So as a Democrat, Rocky, I'm sure you're familiar with Hillary.
Conservative Democrat.
Conservative Democrat, thank you. I'm sure you're familiar with both Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders' proposals to raise the minimum wage federally across the board to $15 an hour or more. Now, you're a guy that's had thousands of employees and multitudes of businesses. What's your position on minimum wage?
Well, first of all, I agree with it, 100%. And let me tell you why. What people don't realize is that we have inflation. And inflation we have. And we went through 1980, 1981 when we had 19, 20, 21% interest, and even higher. And what people don't understand is that in 1975, one steak at Bonds was worth $1. I don't think you can buy a steak for $1. I can remember when cigarettes used to be 25 cents. Today they're $5. So what would you rather have had? $1.10 an hour with cigarettes at 25 cents, or a Coca-Cola for 10 cents, or how would you like to have $10 when the gasoline today is $4 a gallon? So the question is, minimum wage has to keep up with inflation. Not only does it have to keep up with inflation, it has to be higher than inflation. And what has happened is the only one that benefits with inflation is the government because they collect more taxes. So the answer is, I believe in raising the minimum wage. Now, I have an interesting experience on that. I have to have businesses in many countries. One of the countries that I have a business happens to be South America, in Uruguay. In Uruguay, what they basically did is they told everybody, this is what we're going to do every 6 months for the next 6 years. Excuse me, the president there's for 5 years. So this is what we're going to do every year for the next, every 6 months for the next 5 years. And they prepared everybody what they were going to do. And they raised the minimum wage per sector. It isn't just the minimum wage. It was the minimum wage for certain people, the minimum wage for carpenters, the minimum wage for people that work in restaurants. It was a minimum. So every trade union happened to have a different minimum wage, because it's not the same as just having a minimum wage. It's a minimum wage per different trade group.
So are you proposing the same thing for the U.S.?
I believe that we should study the worldwide system, and I believe everything's been invented, and we need to basically take a look, bring the best masterminds, and the answer is yes. Americans need to do that. But I also have another part of the equation. I have a very interesting proposal. One of the things I hate is when I have to file my tax returns.
Who doesn't?
I'm supposed to file them April 15th. And to be honest with you, I have never done it on April 15th because my accountant says there's too much paperwork and we get an automatic 60-day extension. And then I says, okay, I'm going to file it 60 days later. And they immediately get it to October 15th. I file my tax returns every year, October 15th. The first thing I'm going to propose, and I do not believe this is going to go very good with Congress, both the Senate or the Congress. I would not like anybody that makes less than $50,000 a year to have to file a tax return.
How will the government collect taxes?
They'll collect it from people that make more than $50,000. But folks, you know how many, the only one that makes money there is H&R Block, okay? That tax code is so complicated, it's not funny. I've been audited almost every year. Actually, for the last 25 years, I've been audited at least 10 years. I have an office just for the IRS. And I had a lady, very smart per se, she was auditing me for 3 years in a row.
So let me stop you, Rock. Are you saying that you want to exempt households earning less than $50,000 from paying any taxes?
That is correct. I believe that those hard-working Americans, number one, they don't pay taxes, and number two, not only do they don't pay taxes, they don't even have to file a return.
And have you done the math to figure out what the implication would be on the budget and how it would be made up?
We might have to lose one B-1 bomber. We might have to lose two B-1 bombers. But the question is, we might have to cut some aid that we give all over the world. But folks, first comes America. First comes the homeless. First, we have to take care of our people. And if we generate, I love one of the things, one of my favorite restaurants, my favorite president was Ronald Reagan, okay? And everybody said it was not going to work.
Careful, he's a Republican.
Guess what? He was a Democrat running as a Republican. Okay? But now let's talk about another one. There's another one of my favorite characters, Howard Jarvis. He came up with California with Proposition 13.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Prop 13 in California limited property taxes to no more than 1% of the assessed valuation of real estate.
And that thing has been now going for 35 years. It said everybody was going to go broke. Folks, it's the smartest thing. I have properties in Ohio. I got properties in New York. And folks, I pay from 1% in California to 6% in New York for property taxes. And in California, I know exactly what I'm going to pay, and I can do planning. In New York, I get hometown. I had properties in Arkansas, in Hot Springs. And folks, I know Clinton is from there, from Hope, not that far away. I got hometown. Hometown, day in and day out. Because if you're not an Arkansas boy, nobody likes you.
Got it. So minimum wage.
Minimum wage goes up. We need to come up with a plan so everybody knows exactly what's going to happen, not only for all America, but for different trades. Minimum wage cannot be the same for somebody basically working at McDonald's than for somebody working as an electrician.
And let's not forget the second proposal we just heard, minimum wage indexed by job division or job industry, and
correct.
No taxes for any household under $50,000 in earnings.
That is correct.
And that's rocky on taxes.
But more important is this. You don't have to file a tax return. Folks, that's the biggest waste of time. Has anybody tried to even read it? Has anybody tried to understand it? I mean, I saw once a tax return for, I believe it was for General Motors. I believe there was more papers that filled this room. You know how many trees get killed for that? Folks, we're trying to save the environment. What are we kidding?
Got it.
Okay.
There you go. Rocky on taxes.